Flood changes lives. If you are receiving this video as an authorized and certified flood adjuster, the first thing I want you to know is I am here to help you through this traumatic time in your life. While flood is a vile act upon any person or property, and recovery is not an easy feat, it takes days, weeks, months, and sometimes years to recover. In this 30-minute video developed by the company who certified me with a specialized knowledge of flood adjusting, you will receive important information to help you move forward towards recovery. This video will provide you with an overview of the teamwork letter you will or have received in the first email from your flood adjuster. This could be the most important 30 minutes of your claims experience. As a certified flood adjuster, upon completion of service to you, there will be a survey related to my personal service to you. It is the goal of a certified flood adjuster that I am hitting the bullseye of meeting your needs by providing excellence in claims experience. To recover from a flood loss, everyone must work together as a team to have success. Together, everyone accomplishes more. Teamwork is what it takes to recover from flood loss. Your flood adjuster is here to help you through this process. That does not mean that he or she will do it all. It means they will assist you in gathering and providing evidence that damages were caused by or from the general conditions of flooding, as stated in your standard flood insurance policy that you have purchased from your agent. After you watch this video and complete the requirements of the policyholder, your flood adjuster wants to schedule the inspection as soon as possible. However, there must be access to your building. By reviewing this information and knowing what you need to do as a policyholder will make the claims experience much better. Your flood adjuster will text and attempt to call you at the phone numbers provided by your agent. Please respond to your adjuster by texting your correct contact phone number and email address. This is the first thing your flood adjuster wants to confirm. The flood adjuster may text, email, or provide you a copy of their flood control number card displaying what they are qualified to work. If you do not receive that information, the flood adjuster will show you their authorization status to work your flood loss when he or she arrives at your property. As you can see here in the slide, there should be a valid date and the area in which they are authorized to work. There may be a time when the adjuster is a trainee. If so, you will want to know who their supervisor is. Ultimately, the supervisor is responsible for the claim. Your flood adjuster has no authority to approve your loss or tell you the insurance company will approve your loss. Your adjuster does have the authority to gather information about the damages. They can include but not limited to information from you or the people you hire. You are required to help the adjuster throughout the entire process, including signing documents to submit for recommendations, which is the proof of loss. You as a policyholder have the right to complete your own proof of loss as stated in the policy as a supplement to the flood adjuster's recommendation. That is totally up to you. However, the flood adjuster must complete their work. Your flood adjuster is the eyes and ears to the insurance company. There must be proof of physical damage caused by or from flooding to your property. You should have received email from your flood adjuster with the following information, but if not, you will on the initial visit. FEMA publication NFIP policy form. Depending upon what type of policy you purchased, you will receive a dwelling form, general property form, or an RCBAP form. The handbook will provide you with information about the claims process. If you disagree with what your carrier is paying, this handbook will show you the steps you need to take to resolve your disagreement. ICC or increased cost of compliance. If your building is damaged in excess of 49% of the current resale value, you need to contact your agent. This does not include the value of the land. The flood adjuster flood control number, FNC card, which we have already talked about earlier in this video. Debris removal falls into two areas, building and content. Salvage pamphlet. If you're going to try to salvage content, make sure you let your flood adjuster know. They will work with you so you will not lose those special items. The teamwork letter contains detailed information included in this video. The appliance worksheet. If your major appliances have been damaged by or from floodwater, you need to list them on the worksheet and include the make, model, and serial number for each item. Make sure you have this completed before discarding the appliance and before your adjuster arrives for the initial inspection. Also include the total cost of the appliance delivered and connected. Content worksheet. If you have purchased personal property coverage as a separate coverage, different from the building coverage, you will need to complete the content worksheet. This should include all personal property that has been damaged by or from floodwater. Ideally, it should be completed by the time your flood adjuster arrives for the initial inspection. However, we know this is a very stressful time. Do your best to get as much as you can complete by the time your flood adjuster arrives. Start with large items first. Remember to take photos. Food worksheet. If you have lost food in your refrigerators or freezers or pantry, you will need to take photos. Complete this worksheet and have it ready for when your flood adjuster arrives for the initial inspection. Labor worksheet. If you or your family or friends perform labor, you will need to record it on the labor worksheet. Flood questionnaire. To the best of your abilities, complete the questionnaire. Those unanswered questions, your flood adjuster will assist you. All worksheets are Excel spreadsheets. It is highly recommended that you seek assistance from someone who can help you enter the information on the worksheet. If you choose to provide the information in a different format, it will slow down the process and cause delay receiving money from your insurance company. If you have a valid loss, meaning that it met the definition of general conditions of flood, the first thing you must do before anything is removed from a qualified building is to take photos. Photos will help you tell the story of what happened. Without photos, there is no damage. The policy states it is the policyholder's responsibility to document their damages. The next several slides, you will see examples of what you need to do. The first thing is to use a post note and write on it your name, the date of loss, the claim number. At the bottom of the post note, write the word watermark and draw an arrow. Using a measuring device, apply the post note to it. You will need to locate the highest watermarks on the exterior and interior of the building. You will see examples of photos you need to take in the next few slides. To the best of your ability, make sure the photo is the highest watermark. The watermark could be caused by wave action from tidal surge, boats, or vehicles around your building. It is always best to find a door, window, or electric meter that provides photos of undisputed documentation of the potential damages. All of your buildings at the described location on your policy, you should take photos of each elevation, one of the front, one of the right, one of the rear, one of the left. Make sure when taking the photos that we can see the foundation and the roof. The interior water lines. Make sure you get the highest watermark. Take an overview of photos of each room and close-up photos of kitchens and bathrooms. You need to remember when going from room to room, use a post note and stick it on the door to identify the room by name. Example, Donnie's bedroom, Susie's bedroom, master bath, hall bath, or water closet. The photos help document your damages. Make sure to take as many photos as you think you need to prove your damages. Photos of major appliances are required by the insurance company. Here you see there are washer and dryer, built-in oven, and dishwasher. Include the manufacturer tags of the appliance. This will show the make, model, and serial number. Be careful when taking the photo. Your flood adjuster will need to read the information when enlarged. Here is a list of mechanical items you will need to get photos of: water heaters, AC condensers, furnaces, water softeners. Photo the manufacturer tag. If you have these items replaced prior to the arrival of the adjuster, the contractor will need to include on their invoice the cause of damage and the date it happened. Important that you remember, it must be damaged by or from floodwaters. And when replacing the equipment, it must be with like, kind, and quality material. If you choose to upgrade, you must pay the difference. Let's return to content coverage. Insureds lose hundreds of dollars because they do not take the time to do this correctly. While your flood adjuster may list the major content items because they can easily be seen in the photos or during the initial visit, they do not know all your content that may be in drawers, hidden under beds, in closets, office desks, file cabinets, tool bins, stock, or inventory. You are required to complete this form if you want your flood adjuster to recommend content items for payment. Your flood adjuster's recommendation is to complete your content list room by room. This will save time, reduce stress and headaches. Take a photo of each item or group of items. Example is this: dresses hanging in the master closet, silverware set in the kitchen, ladies' dress shoes, drawer of socks, linens in the closet, miscellaneous toys in the garage, or furs in the cedar closet. For business, you will want to list stock in room A, parts in drawer 1, 2, 3. There must be a location associated with content, stock, and inventory. When pricing the item, make sure you include a price of what it would cost to replace today. It should include any cost to have it setting in the same location of your building. Most insureds fail to include delivery and assembly. This is a part of replacement. Do not include a sale price of any item because it may not be on sale tomorrow. If you want to have something refinished or refurbished, make sure you photo the item and the damage. Mention this to your flood adjuster during the initial inspection and they will address those items with you. As a curiosity, if you do not have content coverage, you're not required to complete this form. However, you may want to do it for your personal inventory. You may qualify for a tax deduction or other forms of assistance. For more information, consult your tax advisor. Do not wait to start working on your content. Like we have said earlier, many policyholders lose hundreds, if not thousands of dollars because they failed to correctly identify the content that was damaged. Here are some suggestions about content. Know your policy limit. Use the Excel spreadsheets that are provided by your flood adjuster. Seek help from family members or friends to complete the worksheet. Sooner the better. Failure to use the worksheet could result in delays in completing the claim. Start the inventory in the living room and identify the items in this column. Complete each room before moving on to the next room. Start with the highest priced items and go to the lowest priced items. If you have a brand or manufactured item in that room, please list it in this column. If there's a model number, list it in this column. In the item description column, you will want to tell us about the item. This is important. You will want to state the condition. Condition has nothing to do with age. If it's like new, put above average. If it's new, meaning within weeks, put new. Otherwise, consider everything at average condition. Be fair to yourself because your content is actual cash value, meaning you will only receive the replacement cost less the depreciation. You will need to state in this column the quantity loss. Example is this: dress hanging in the master closet 20 at $100, or silverware set in the kitchen at $30. Ladies' dress shoes 5 at $60, drawer of socks 1 at $15, linens in the closet 1 at $300, miscellaneous toys in the garage 1 at $450, or fur in cedar closet 1 at $2,500. For business, stock in room A, see attachment 1 at $25,000, parts in drawer 1, see attachment 1 at $250, arts in drawer 2, see attachment 1 at $35. Any single item over $500 must have a photo and be listed on a single line. If you do not have a receipt to support your cost of an item above $1,000, you can go to the internet to support the cost. Just remember, the internet may not include a cost associated with having that item placed in your building as a pre-loss condition. You will want to provide additional description in the description line for delivery and setup. Copy and paste the link of the item in the description column. All items valued over $1,000, if purchased today, requires PDF documentation to support that replacement cost. You will email this information to your flood adjuster upon completing your content list. Businesses should provide accounting ledgers and receipts that support and document losses. There are no antiques in flood losses. Do not use the word. It is an oak table, 12 chairs, and hutch in pristine condition. Make sure you obtain a replacement cost for the functional value or go to a dealer to find like, kind, and quality items. Make sure you have documentation. You may consider refinishing the item. When doing so, make sure your estimate includes the pickup and delivery and the unit cost. Remember, refinishing items have no depreciation applied to the repair. Clothing must be listed in batches and groups. Show where and how the damage was caused by or from flood. You see here 3 photos as floodwater affected them all. The left photo, all clothing would be replaced. Photo in the middle, the items were damaged about 4 feet up. Anything above that waterline was not damaged and cannot be listed. On the right photo, this loss of water depth was only 6 inches and did not affect the entire top run. It is important to know how long the water was in the building because it could have an impact on the damages. Stock and inventory. We addressed this earlier in the video. This applies to the general property form that allows you to buy content coverage up to $500,000. If you have damaged stocking inventory that is raw or finished goods, you must provide certified accounting ledgers showing the quantities and the unit cost. Depreciation will not be applied to raw or finished goods. The only recommendation that can be made is the actual cost including overhead. The policy does not cover lost profits. If you hire a mitigating company like ServPro, ServiceMaster, or Belford, make sure they call the flood adjuster before work is started. If they do not understand the flood policy related to mitigation, you will be responsible for any additional cost that is not covered by the policy. If you self-perform this work, notify your flood adjuster as soon as possible. Do not delay mitigation. Mitigation is the removal of wet items from your building. Do not delay this work as it could cause additional damages. You as the policyholder have a responsibility to be proactive in reducing additional damages caused by or from flood. Keep a record of who you have called, date, time, company, and who you spoke with. If mitigation companies cannot get to you, this is beyond your control. It does not mean you have not tried to mitigate. Once again, if you hire a mitigating company like ServPro, ServiceMaster, or Belford, make sure they call the flood adjuster before work is started. There are times they do not understand the flood policy related to mitigation. You will be responsible for any additional cost that is not covered by the NFIP policy. It is important to know how long the water was in the building. This includes the number of days it requires to dry out the building. The length of time will determine the amount of damages. If you self-perform this work or have volunteers, notify your flood adjuster as soon as possible. Countertops are a huge issue for FEMA. Natural stone or solid surface countertops must be detached and reset subject to the claims manual. Do not allow a demolition company to remove your natural stone or solid surface countertops. This is a specialty contractor item. Your insurance company allows for a specialty company and will pay the additional cost to be careful in detaching the countertops. If countertops cannot be replaced without every effort to detach and reset, the specialty contractor must provide documentation that can support the attempt to detach the countertop. If it was damaged or broken during the detachment, recommendation for replacement can be made. Your specialty contractor must include photos at the time of removal for documentation, otherwise it will result in a denial of countertop replacement. Remember, detach and reset first. Replacement comes only if it broke during removal with documentation. If the countertop was totally submerged by floodwaters, the replacement is warranted. Just make sure you have a photo showing the watermark above the countertop. Debris removal is another sticky issue with FEMA. FEMA has documented and explains how to handle debris removal. You need to be aware there are only 2 types of debris removal: building and content removal. Building debris removal is processed under the policy form which you have purchased. You must know which buildings have limitations. Examples: basement or below the post-firm elevated building. There are only 17 items in the basement and 15 items of a post-firm elevated building. You must separate the items if you are setting the debris out on a city curb. Take photos showing the separation of debris. Content removal must be listed room by room and line by line if you have purchased content coverage. If you have not purchased content coverage, you are responsible for all the costs associated with the removal of content items. This slide shows you the FEMA debris removal guidelines. You should review it for your knowledge. We highly recommend that you provide a copy to any contractor you may hire. If you have hired a public adjuster or attorney, special documents are required to be processed. You must contact your flood adjuster first before the public adjuster attempts to make contact. Here is the direct quote regarding FEMA requirements. NFIP insurers may not disclose a policyholder's information to a policyholder's representative or allow a representative to act on behalf of a policyholder without obtaining a letter of representation signed by all policyholders named on the policy. At minimum, a letter of representation must include the following: 1. Policyholder's full name. 2. Policyholder's current address. 3. Policyholder's date and place of birth. 4. Name of third-party representative. 5. Statement from policyholder authorizing authorized representative to act on their behalf and for the insurer to release records to the representative. The policyholder's signature must either be notarized or submitted with the following statement prescribed by 28 U.S.C. 1746. I declare or certify, verify, or state under penalty of perjury that the foregoing is true and correct, executed on date, signature. Regardless of who the policyholder enters in contact with, the policyholder and their representatives will be included in any form of communication. All estimates you receive from any person or company must be completed by individual buildings or units and room by room, line by line. Your insurance company and FEMA will not accept lump sum estimates. You need to make sure the service provider or contractor understands the requirements prior to preparing an invoice or estimate for you. If the invoice or estimate is not detailed, it will only delay the flood adjuster's recommendations to the insurance company, resulting in a delay in payments to you, the policyholder. If you have had a prior flood loss, you are required to provide documentation showing that all repairs were completed. Failure to show that repairs were completed will result in a denial of those items in any new recommendations by your flood adjuster. FYI, your insurance company has photos of prior flood losses, and they will corroborate the prior photos with the new photos your flood adjuster will take. By doing so, this will confirm to the insurance and NFIP that all repairs were completed. If they see the items were not replaced or repaired, it will affect the claims process by reducing any advance or final payments and the flood adjuster's recommendations. Self-performed labor. Any work you, your family, or friends who are not a professional will be reimbursed at the federal minimum wage rate of $7.25 per hour. You must provide the individual's name and social security number, date work was completed, and document what they did. You will provide this information on the labor worksheet sent to you in the email. On a personal note, while your life is turned upside down, it is always best to hire a professional who knows what they are doing. This will allow you to focus on what is important. If it is your family, the care for them is the most important. If it is your business, keeping your employees working and customers happy is the most important. Just make sure the professional you hire contacts your flood adjuster before they begin any work. Proof of ownership is required on any flood loss. As a policy owner, there are several ways you provide this information. One of the best documents you can give your flood adjuster is the county tax assessment record, but there is still more. As a homeowner, in addition to county tax records, you will need to provide a copy of your current driver's license that shows the address is the same location that is on the policy declaration page. As a tenant, you are not required to provide county tax records. However, you will need to provide copies of your lease agreement and your current driver's license that shows the address is the same location on the policy declaration page. If you have just moved to the location, a current utility bill showing your name and address will meet the requirement. If you have flood coverage under the General Property Form, in addition to county tax records, you will need to provide a copy of the 911 location certificate, copy of a current utility bill, any lease or bylaw documents, and on company letterhead, who is authorized to sign documents from your insurance company or FEMA. If you have flood coverage under the Residential Condominium Building Association Policy, RCBAP, and have more than 75% residential units, in addition to county tax records, you will need to provide a copy of the 911 location certificate, any leases, bylaw or association documents, a current appraisal valuation of the building, and on company letterhead, who is authorized to sign documents from your insurance company or FEMA. This information must be provided before or at the initial inspection to your flood adjuster. Failure to have this information may result in delaying the inspection until the information is provided. Completing the flood questionnaire may have taken place over the phone with your flood adjuster. If not, then you must do your best to complete the flood questionnaire prior to the arrival of your flood adjuster's initial inspection. When the flood adjuster arrives, they will help you complete the questionnaire. The questionnaire and your photos are very important in determining the amount of money advanced to you. Here is what your flood adjuster needs from you as soon as possible. Emailing the information to them is the best way to move your claim along. Complete items 1, 2, and 3 as soon as possible and email them to your flood adjuster. 1. Exterior and interior waterline photos of all buildings. 2. Exterior elevation photos of all buildings. 3. Interior overview photos of all rooms in all buildings. Items 4, 5, 6, and 7 should be emailed soon after. 4. Completed flood questionnaire if not completed over the phone. 5. Information about the contractor, public adjuster, or attorney if you retain their services. 6. If you have moved content items out of the flood zone, you will need to provide the address, location, and photo of the new location. 7. If you have moved to a different location because the building is not habitable and are not receiving mail at the flood loss location, your flood adjuster must have a current mailing address. It is very important that your flood adjuster have current and correct contact information. Provide any and all phone numbers, fax numbers, and email addresses. Your flood adjuster must be able to contact you. It is important that you retain documentation related to this claim. Creating a folder for all paperwork related to this claim is for your peace of mind. It will help you in the future by keeping a hard copy document folder. Make sure you place it in a location that will not get destroyed by any future flooding. We highly recommend that you scan the information to your computer and then email it to yourself. If you have a cloud account, keep it there. Evidence is shown if you have experienced a flood loss at your current location, there is a high probability that the location will flood again. Providing information about a prior flood loss is just one click away from reducing additional stress of experiencing another flood event. You should contact your agent related to explanations of policy coverage. After all, they are the people who sold you the policy. Your flood adjuster can only communicate with you about the coverage provided on your deck page. If you think your coverage is not correct, contact your agent as soon as possible. When it comes to you contacting your flood adjuster, there are many ways. Your flood adjuster always wants to communicate with you, and while your loss is very important to them, they could be visiting with another policyholder in your neighborhood. Here are the 2 best ways to contact your flood adjuster. 1. Sending a text message with a specific topic or question. "Call me, I need to talk to you" is not the best message. 2. Sending an email is the second option. In the subject line, you will need to include your name and claim number. In the body of the email, state the topic or question. You can add photos to help explain your concern. Calling your adjuster from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. is not the best thing to do. Most of the time, your flood adjuster is meeting with people like yourself. You most likely will end up in a voicemail box and become frustrated. As flood adjusters, we are just trying to be honest and provide excellence in claims experience. We want you to remember this. If you have received this video, your flood adjuster has been through the 5-day NFIP Flood Bootcamp training. Not only are they authorized by FEMA, but they are certified by Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Bootcamp. Not all flood adjusters are equal. You can visit our website at nfipfloodbootcamp.com to learn more about your adjuster. These are flood adjusters who have invested their career at the NFIP Flood Bootcamp to make this time of your life better. One thing on their mind is delivering to you excellence in claims experience. Our goal is hitting the bullseye of our clients' needs. Copyright 2016 to 2020, Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Bootcamp. This video is used by permission of Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Boot Camp to flood adjusters who have invested in their career and completed all requirements outlined in the training guide, and is solely for the policyholder to which they are providing a service. Any distribution or sharing of this video is punishable under federal law of the United States of America. Warning: if the adjuster who has provided you this video and is not listed on the website at nfipfloodbootcamp.com, they are a fraud. By reporting substantial evidence that includes their name, email address, and flood control number, if they have one, Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Boot Camp will provide a whistleblower's reward. We at Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Boot Camp appreciate you, the policyholder, helping us hold our industry to the highest standard of excellence in claim experience. Robert L. Ballard, ANFI, CFGA, CGA, CPLA, Founder and President, Bullseye Training and NFIP Flood Boot Camp, www.nfipfloodbootcamp.com.